7. How about that?
All right. All right. G'day, g'day. Here we are, week 7, Circa Contest, Survivor, Millions with Vegas Horse Pools proxy service. Scott, I mean, I'm hoping there's a big wipeout of Thursday night Survivor. I don't think it'll be as big as what I want it to be, but what are you seeing and how's it looking?
Yeah, Thursday night was not good. There was a lot of people on Pittsburgh in the Survivor contest. And obviously, it didn't go over very well at my house since my wife's from Pittsburgh. So, not a good night for me. And then, of course, following up with the Friday night fiasco was really, really bad. So, it's not been a good week for me at all. But do you want to talk about Survivor first? You want to go Millions first?
We can go Millions first, like we normally do. As I said, I'm just, unfortunate for your wife, but hoping that, there was a bunch not get knocked out because based on what I did see, it was a data play of the Steelers. The house needed the Steelers. The Masters were on the Steelers, and all that stuff sort of played into. While I said it, I'm not touching Thursdays anymore. There was a moment there where I was almost going to send you last minute, hey, just get me one on the Steelers. And when they're up to nothing, I thought, boy, missed this one, and then played out. But yeah, jump into the Millions, and what do we got first?
Yeah, so far this weekend has been a pretty disastrous week for my betting, so not going well. But we'll talk about Millions. We'll talk about something positive. Number one pick on the board by quite a little bit was the Seahawks. Seahawks, we have those guys at -3.5. What do you think about that game? How's the master money on that game?
Yeah, so it's about 87% of the money's on the Seahawks, 90% of the master money. Really good volume on that game, compared to the other games this week. The interesting thing that I did I enjoyed diving into these charts when you send over the games, because there was a bunch of money, master money as well, on Houston +1.5 and +2.5 at the plus odds, the alternative lines, derivatives, or whatever they want to call them. So, there is some money on the other side, interestingly, at lower numbers with bigger odds. But right now, seeing majority Seattle.
Gotcha. Sounds good. That makes me something I want to point out to all the proxy customers. You do not receive your email with all your picks graded until all of your picks are graded. So if you have 5 survivors left and one of your survivors is the Seahawks, you will not be getting your email until after that game is played. We tried this in testing and we found out people were not crazy about getting multiple emails, so that's why you only get one. So this again, we're talking about Millions right now, and of course, if you don't have the Seahawks if you have the Seahawks on any of your Millions tickets, you won't get your Millions grading until after it is finished. And again, that's a Monday night game. Been getting that question a lot this year, so just thought I would address that.
Right.
Number two pick. This is the favorite team of my buddy Phoenix Adam. It is the San Francisco 49ers at a -1.5. Second favorite in the Millions contest. What are you seeing?
Well, I will say one thing about this Millions. I think I went 2 and 23 or 3 and 22 last week, and the only reason I got one of them was because I either accidentally, inadvertently, whatever, actually picked both sides of one game. I did have one entry at one point that was looking, pretty healthy, but I think I've just torched this whole Millions thing. With the 49ers, it's Atlanta money. Atlanta's 70% of the money overall, 88% of the master money. It's just Atlanta's strong money right now, which is, surprised me when I saw the number. I thought it felt light at 1.5.
Is that going to be your play of the day?
It won't be my play of the day, no. But I did play the 49ers in a few of my Millions, and based on last week's numbers, it might mean Atlanta's a good thing.
Okay. The next one up is America's team, the Dallas Cowboys, +1.5.
Yeah,
what are you seeing there?
Yeah, so I think a bunch of this again, Dallas 1.5 on the contest, -1.5 on the boards, before the contest closed. 55% of the money's on Dallas. Not a lot of master money, but there was a lot of early master Washington money, which looks like it'll close at a bad CLV. I know people love that CLV out there. I'm pretty agnostic to it all. But right now, I think that Dallas was really a play on the number, just going from +1.5 on the contest to -1.5 on the board by the time contest closed.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, let's move on to the Cleveland Browns -2.5. They're sitting the fourth most popular spot this week. What's the master money look on this one?
So Cleveland -2.5. It's looking like $3.20 in a lot of places right now. 55% of the money's on Miami. 54% of the master money's on Cleveland. I know we won't go into Cleveland on the Survivor selections, but I have used Cleveland in my Survivor. I went back and forth of using that or Kansas City. Yes, one's a 13-point favorite. One's a shitty bloody team at -2.5 against another shitty team. So I might be stretching it too far with that one, but I just found that one that was probably a spot worthwhile, laying one of my 4 on that one to kind of gamble a bit. But yeah, right now it's fairly well balanced and not a ton of action.
Gotcha. And the last one on the millions list is for Gary V. It's none other than the New York Jets +1.5. What are you seeing on this one?
Yeah, well, I do hope the Jets get this one, but looking at +1.5, there's 58% of the money on the Jets, 71% of the master money. I mean, this is probably 2 of the worst teams in the league matching up here. It doesn't look like it's going to be a huge decision for the book, so I do hope the Jets can sneak this one home and get on the board with at least one win.
And this isn't your master play of the week either?
No, there's none of the millions games. Just making sure I'm right. None of the millions games fell into that this week. One of the Survivor games did. Another game I just found last minute for Monday night. And obviously, we just had one of the Monday night ones in the millions, so I'm guessing they know on which side that is now. But yeah, none of those on the millions right now.
Yeah, I wish you'd put odds up on this because I'd like to play this game. Because I got a feeling you're going to say the Tampa game. But let's go on to Survivor now. And the Survivor is really spread out this week. There's not a huge drop off from 1 to 4. So let's talk about number 1, which is the Patriots. The Patriots out of New England.
So, looking at the spread, this is a fascinating game when I delve into it. Patriots got 65% of the money on the points, which is normal. You expect that on the favorite. 86% of the master money on the spread is on Tennessee. On the money line, 87% of the money is on the Patriots, again, expected with parlays and straight, all that kind of stuff. 65% of the master money is on Tennessee. So I did not use this game. I believe Tennessee's going to win this game straight up and absolutely clean house on the Survivor based on the numbers I'm seeing and the bettors I'm seeing on this game. It's not my play of the day, but I am going to call the money line on the Tennessee as the one to really terrorize the Circa Survivor this week.
Yeah, it's going to cut the heart out of a bunch of my clients. That'll make it a really bloody week for all of us. Well, let's talk about almost the favorites here in Survivor. Let's go to Kansas City. What are you seeing in Kansas City?
Yeah, this is, on the money line, all the money's on the Chiefs. On the points, 90+% on the Raiders. 13+ points. Doesn't really say much on the Survivor charts, but all the money's on the Chiefs to win this game outright. I did use them once. It's probably an easy game just to use them. Half looking down to, I think it was Christmas Day. Yeah, getting a bit ahead of myself, but that looks like the play to use then. So I didn't want to just torch them completely, hoping to get to that week, which is, I don't know, week 18 or something like that. But yeah, I have used them in one. Couldn't leave them out just to make sure that take the biggest favorite on the board and just just survive. I mean, that's majority of the goal is just to get through to the next week.
Yeah, and like I was saying, it is almost co-favorites here in the survivor pool. But I'm a little more reluctant to use these guys if I was a player in this contest, because you're going to need those in those 2 short weeks. You're going to need Kansas City available to you. So I'm surprised that people are playing them as heavy as they are, because you're going to need, if you're going to win this contest, you need to have Kansas City in your pocket. So using them right now doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But when you have a bunch of entries like you do, I can understand playing one on it. So that makes sense. So
yeah, it's kind of tough because, one, you've got to get to week 18, which is obviously really hard. So keeping sort of teams in the back pocket for certain reasons, yeah, it's kind of a balance. So as I said, got 4 left. One of them is on the Chiefs.
right, and that's right. And I understand all of that. But you can't win the contest if you can't win the short week. That's the only reason why I lean to keeping Kansas City in the pocket instead of spending it. But I also understand you got to get there to be able to win the contest too. So you can
100%.
argue this. Yeah, you can argue this one for the rest of our lives, and we're probably never going to come to a decision.
Well, I
So
did. I mean, I argued it with myself last night before picking the Browns over the Chiefs. So, yeah, we'll see what happens tomorrow, and then know which side of my head won the argument, and go from there.
we'll do that, and then we'll talk on the short week and see if you'd rather wish you had Kansas City still available.
Well, I'll tell you what.
You're-
I'll say this: if the one entry gets through that has Kansas City, and I'm alive then, and the others are dead, I'll just try and find a winner somewhere else.
Okay, we'll do that. And now let's talk about the sad spot. This is the sad spot of the group. This is number 3. And this is basically a tie between the Steelers, who the flags are flying half staff here because of. They're already a loser for the week. And the Chicago Bears. What does the numbers look like on the Bears?
So this is one I was going to use Chicago. I probably should have used Chicago. And I was kind of terrified for 2 reasons. All the money's on the Saints. The money line's 50-50, which, 50-50 money means the dog's a loser on the charts there. Like, it's 97% of the spread money is on the Saints. 100% of the master money is on the Saints. Right now, this will be the biggest result for the house of all the games, which again sort of makes it the side to be on the side of the house. But it's scary how much of the money is on the Saints. I know Bears have won 3 in a row. They're coming off that big Monday night win. Maybe it's just a spot that they're thinking that they'll just flounder there, which I didn't use them. So now, depending on how it looks for the book, hopefully there's some Chicago money coming in tomorrow. It might be another one to sort of wreck a bit of the survivor contestants.
Yeah, definitely will. And you've always told me when I've asked you bookmaking questions that you're not afraid of nothing. So I'm surprised you didn't go on this game at all. So we'll see how that one plays out.
We will.
It should be a good one. And let's go with the final one. Let's go out to Denver. Take a look at the Broncos. What do the Masters think about this one?
Yeah, this is Denver money. 81% of the money's on Denver, 90% of the master money, 80% of the money line action. I've got 2 of my 4 on Denver. This looked like the spot to use them if you're going to use them. Giants have had some decent wins recently, upsetting the apple cart. I hope they don't do it this week. The house is going to need the Giants to cover. So hopefully Denver by a field goal or something. But I think this is the one I felt like it was worth spending half my entries on. This was a spot to sort of play them and, hopefully survive.
That's the name of the game of Survivor. Just survive in advance. Survive in advance. And you're doing really well this year. You're doing a lot better than you did in the past. So you should be really happy about that.
Yeah, that's because I haven't picked the Bengals. Damn Bengals.
But this looks like what it's coming down to this week. this is about all I've got for this week. You have anything else?
Well, yeah. The Bucks is the one that
Oh, the Bucks. I forgot that
Yeah.
game. Yeah, go ahead.
So I called the Tennessee money line. Again, we can snip this and say I called it if they get beat. You're kind of on a hiding to nothing. But the one that stood out when I looked at the charts, it's Detroit. There's 73% of the money on them. 76% of the master money's on the Bucks. It's a really strong volume, for being a Monday night game. So right now, and I'm not sure we've ever done a Monday night game. Usually it's definitely always Sunday. But apart from that Tennessee game, Chicago being a good result for the house, but not on the data play of the master money because it's on the Saints as well. But Bucks plus almost a touchdown on Monday night. That's the one we're going to ride into this week.
I don't know what your feelings about this are, but I like having a doubleheader on Monday night. And I really like it when they start. So you get to watch the full game of both games. I think this is the way the NFL should do it. Gives us another day of a full day of football starting at 4:00 Pacific. Now, if I lived on the East Coast, I might not say any of this because their second game is starting when they should be going to bed. But living on the West Coast has huge advantages in the sports world. So, and being here in Vegas has advantages also. So, we live in a pretty good time zone. I know you don't live in any time zone because you keep traveling, but you have to prefer a Western time zone to an Eastern time zone, correct?
So I actually like the Costa Rica time zone because you get sort of central for 6 months, you get mountain for 6 months. Jamaica, I always hated it when it went from central to Eastern because, that Eastern just adds that hour. Maybe in my 20s, I was great at that, work until 2 a.m., 3 a.m. every day aspect. Now I'm getting up a little bit earlier and not lasting as long in the evening. I love the West Coast time, except for the 18 Sundays when 1 p.m. is 10 a.m. So you got to be up at like 6:37, and usually Saturday night's a rough one. So that's the only thing. But I like games done early. Go out for dinner. Go do whatever you need to do in the evening. I do enjoy that. So that's where I think that mountain time, has some benefits to it as well.
Yeah, that's reasonable. I agree. And we do get hit really hard with the 6:30 a.m. games. Everybody else is getting those at 8:30 and 9 in the morning.
Yeah.
So there are some downsides, but if you got to get up once in a while at 6 a.m. to watch a football game, you know what? People have got bigger problems than that. So I'm okay with that problem.
Yeah, 100%.
But that's about all we got on this week then. Another good show. It was always good talking to you, Adam. And like I said, that's about all I've got today.
All right, great. So all the best to everyone this week. Good luck with your betting tomorrow and the rest of the week. Go Tennessee Titans. Let's just cut this Circa Survivor in half. All right, cheers, everyone, and good luck.
And go Big Red.